Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the final steps of our 2D game, and I am going to go over them now in a timely manner. First off, here is the final result. We were able to move around, collect coins. Notice how the camera is now following the player up and not just left and right. It's going vertically, not just horizontally. And it seems like my laptop can barely handle it, but it should allow me to at least complete it. At the edge of the stage, or at the very end, as far right as we can go, or as far to the top or bottom, however you decide, we are going to have some kind of goal that we can reach. When the player touches the goal, they are congratulated with an ending screen, or an ending scene. And there we go. Now, if we were to have a game with multiple levels, we could have it transition to another level, and then level 2 can transition to level 3, and so on. But this is just one level for the whole game in this example. And I managed to get through that without the computer completely crashing, so that's good. So there aren't too many steps here to take. I'm going to focus on the camera first. And we're going to go to this assignment page to do that. In School 2D game final steps. I have the two newest scripts here separated from the rest. Every single script is in this link, but only two of them are here. We have one for the ending scene and an updated camera script. So I'm just going to go into that. Just going to open this up. You don't really need to download it. You just open it. And I'm just going to go into the updated camera script. Now, where do I want to place this? I want to go into my scripts folder. And it might be a good idea to just delete the camera script you already have there, because in the past it has caused issues, for me specifically, when I didn't actually delete it. I mean, you should in theory be able to just go in and overwrite what's there, and that should be good, but you can try that at first. If that doesn't work, I recommend just deleting it and then, creating a new one. I already have it here, but what I will do, instead of calling it follow, I'm going to make it consistent with the other names. That's always a good idea, to have consistency in your game. In your game design, actually, it's good to have consistency. So I'll just call it camera script. I'm going to go into it. And I'm going to make sure that the name of the script matches the name that's inside. See, actually right now it doesn't. We can see it right here. It's still called follow. So I just need to change that to say camera script. I'm just going to go ahead and change this to camera script. I managed to spell it correctly, which is always a good thing. Okay, I'm going to save. Go back into the Unity editor, let it update. And we are going to apply this script to the main camera. I already did it, so we're good. And then we're going to click the main camera and go down to where the script is listed here. We want to set the target to the player. So the target is what the camera is going to follow. So this will likely not say player at first. So we just want to make sure that we drag that in here. Probably going to say none in transform, so drag player into there. Don't think it matters if I do it twice, but I'm just not going to. We want to set the offset to -10. That way the camera moves slightly to the left or slightly to the right. It doesn't keep the character exactly in the precise center of the screen the entire time, because that wouldn't really be good. And if you've ever played a 2D game before, you'll notice that the camera doesn't actually do that. The camera or the player can move a little bit to the left and right of the center. So we want to make sure we have that to -10. Smooth factor is how quickly the camera will shift left and right. I find 3 to be a pretty good number, but you can mess around with that. It kind of depends on the size of your sprite, how far zoomed in you are. This number kind of depends on that too. So we want to make sure we modify those settings. We also want to change this number right here, the z-axis, to -10 in terms of position. If we left it at 0, we'd be zoomed in right up as far as we can go, and we may not be able to see any of our game. So we want to essentially zoom out on the z-axis by typing in -10. Once all of these settings are correct, then the camera should work perfectly. And I already showed you what that looks like. So that being said, let's go on to the ending scene. I'm going to go into my scenes folder and notice that I have 2 scenes already here. The example is this one. And I created another one called end screen. If your scenes are not in here, I recommend that you put them in. And if you go to your folder where your entire project is saved, this one's called example, when we go into the assets folder, it should be at the top. Our scenes folder is right here. Now if your scenes are saved like out here, for example, just copy them into scenes. I wouldn't just flat out move them because we need to be really careful about like getting rid of things. Just copy them for good measure into the scenes folder. And then when you do, and you go back into Unity, they should appear here after a few seconds. And there we go. So I named this to end screen. I made sure to make it as one word because sometimes having things named with 2 words in Unity can mess things up. So we're going to go ahead and edit our scene. I'm going to go up to File, Open Scene. I'm going to make sure I choose the one that's in the Scenes folder because that's what I'm working with. End screen. Now, when you first go into this, you won't see a blue background here. You'll just see a box. You will just see the scene or a box where your game would be, and then another huge box on top of that, which looks kind of weird at first. What is in this big box is what's going to overlay the screen. So for example, if something is written up here, like the score for example, it would appear down here on the upper left corner. However, we're not writing the score on here, so that's fine. But like if this duck creature, this duck sprite, was in like the bottom right, which it is, then as you saw earlier, it appears in the bottom right of the screen. So that's kind of how this works. Think of this, when we are creating the ending scene, just think of this as the entire screen, this big huge thing right here. So what I did was I right-click somewhere on here, or you can right-click on where it says background, go to UI, then you can insert an image, you can insert text, and that's probably what we're going to stick with right here. Okay, and that gives us our ending scene. So just go ahead and save that, like so. And then we just need to go back to our regular scene. I don't need to save that. And then we see how we have coins here. And then what we need to do is go to the script. I guess I just have to open this again. Let's go to ending scene script. Very short script. In fact, all that's going on here is saying if a 2D object collides with the object that we're going to apply this script to, then we load the scene that's written right here. So the name of the scene needs to be written right here and right here. And that's really it. We're just doing a scene change. So I'm going to go back into Unity, go to my scripts folder. I'm going to create a new C# script. It's going to be called whatever you like, but I called mine scene change. Copy and paste it in here. As you can see, it's identical. Make sure the script name matches what you named it in Unity. And make sure as I said a moment ago, make sure the name of the scene you're transitioning to is the same as the name of your scene. So like if you wanted to transition to simply the second level in your game, you would type in the name of the second level scene here, and then you would transition from the second level to the third level, you type in that name of that scene, and so on. That's how you can not have to go from just the first level to the end. So that's good to know. But in this case, it's just one level for the entire example. And once we do that, we are going to create an object that will allow us to... Oh, it got over here somehow. Create an object that will allow us to transition to that level. And then we apply that script to whatever object that is. And finally, one more time, we just need to type in the name of the scene here. Which, if you forget what it is, just go to Scenes. It's called End Screen. So if it was level 2, I'd just call it level 2, or level 3, and so forth. And finally, if you were to test this out right now, it wouldn't work, because we have to actually, well, you'll see. Go to File and Build Settings. We have to actually add both scenes here. This is just telling Unity that these scenes are going to be in the final version of our game. So if you don't see one here, just click and drag it up. It's already here, so it can't be added again. And that is it. So if we run our game, it should work exactly as you saw before. Congrats. And congrats on finishing.